Hey you guys, welcome back to Romance Review TV with Lady T. And I got another recap for you guys. Love Island USA Season 4, Episode 13. And there are going to be some broken hearts tonight. The hideaway is now open. And Sarah makes a surprise visit to our islanders. But before we unpack all of this, take a second to make sure you're subscribed to this channel. Make sure those notification bells are turned on so you'll be updated every time we post. And don't forget to like and share. So without further ado, let's talk about what happened. So it left us with this whole thing from the previous episode where they had this challenge where they covered everything from whatever sex position down to body count. So, and it got real crazy. We saw that Isaiah said the L word to Miss Sydney, which had her smiling from ear to ear. And then it got a little dicey at that challenge where Zeta and Timmy was going back and forth with each other with these innuendos and this flirtation in front of course, her guy Jeff. And we can't forget about the fact that Bria was there too. And even Bria voted on the fact that he would probably be more interested in Zeta anyway. And at the end of the day, Jeff was like, why don't y'all just go ahead and do this? So it got real messy. So we're now in this particular episode. The guys are now talking about how they felt about the challenge. And of course, Timmy is like, you know what? My connection hasn't changed. It's even a lot stronger for Zeta than it is for Bria. At the same time with Zeta, she's telling her girls like, yeah, I have a connection with Jeff, but I have an undeniable connection with Timmy. And so she can't get that boy out of her system. So they decide there is a conversation that is needed to happen at this point. And that's between Jeff and Zeta. So Zeta pretty much tells him like, look, I know we have a connection, but I just cannot overlook the fact that I have a more deeper connection with Timmy. And I'm glad she's being honest about it because she could play both of them. And that's good that she's not. And the fact that she's being honest with him, it pretty much let him know where he stands so he won't have to waste his time. Now, the interesting thing about this conversation is that it gets kind of crazy when they reconvene. So then Sydney gets this text message that the hideaway is now open, and because obviously they use the L word and they look like they're probably about the only couple with a very deep connection at this point, they're the ones that are voted into the hideaway. And it was so funny that Bryce told Isaiah that he needs to eat some of that chicken because he needs as much protein as he can get so he can get through this night in the hideaway. And we all know what he meant by that. So then there's this whole thing with this boxing belt that he has wrapped around his body. I don't know what that's supposed to prove, that he's the champ of something. And then she got her sexy negligee going on. So they're ready for whatever they choose to do in the hideaway. I gotta say though, because I just got done watching Love Island UK, that hideaway that USA have put UK's hideaway to shame. In my opinion, there is the stripper pole. I thought that was cool. That just the decorative touches. And they even got that whole tub, that little whirlpool hot tub inside the villa. Inside the suite and the hideaway. Oh my God. I like that. I really like that. But they're building upon their connection and feeding each other strawberries, things that you would normally supposed to do in the hideaway. But it seemed like they have somewhat of a genuine connection. I didn't know what to expect with these two because the conversations I've been having with you guys in my comment section about Isaiah is whether that L word was used in vain and if he actually means it. But I guess we'll have to see because the connection is looking like it's kind of going in the right direction. So now we have both Timmy and Zeta, or shall I say Zimmy. They're now together. they're trying to figure this thing out. And we have Zeta letting him know that I still want you. My connection is still with you. Where are you? Because I need to kind of get some clarity, which is the conversation she also had with Jeff about getting clarity of this situation. Well, Bria is watching and giving the side eye to this whole conversation that's going on over in that corner, and it's not sitting well with her at all. I don't think that would sit well with anybody, especially if you're in a coupling with one of them. And so while all of this is going on and how they miss each other, and yeah, my connection is more stronger, as Timmy admitted, with you than with Bria. Bria is not feeling this thing. You can tell that she's about to explode. Mount Olivius is over there, or should I say Mount Bria is about to explode because she's not happy of the conversation that's going on. And we see Jeff trying to talk her off this whole ledge or the brink of going over there, maybe embarrassing herself or whatever. But, I mean, Zeta is laying it on real thick. She tried to kiss him. He pulled away, saying that it was going to be disrespectful because he was still in the coupling with Bria. Which, okay, I can see that, whether he was playing hard to get or whether he was actually being genuine with that statement. We'll never know. But it got to the point where she couldn't take it anymore because they were way too feely, touchy, trying to kiss each other. The connection was undeniable. I don't know why she interrupted that. That's the only thing about coming in with that type of power to take somebody's man. You might take somebody who don't want to get taken. And even though he had some connection that he wanted to explore, it just wasn't strong enough that he has with Zeta. Well, she decided to take that little trip over there to see Zimmy, and Jeff's face was priceless, hilarious. And so she pretty much like, look, hi, I don't know what's going on over here, but I need to know what you guys gonna do so I can figure out what I'm gonna do. And, you know, I gotta say, he was honest with her and say, you know what, as much as I have somewhat of a connection with you, my connection is stronger with Zeta. And she was like, look, just keep it real with me. What do you want to do? And he was like, you know what, I think I want to move back over here and explore this with Zeta. And Zeta's face was like, ouch. I think everybody watching this was like, ouch. But he was honest. Sometimes the truth can be a little bit painful. And she was like, okay, thank you. I appreciate you telling me. You won't waste my time. But you can tell the girl was hurt. And, you know, he sit back kind of looking relieved because at this point he put it out there. Now he can engage in his embrace and his passionate kiss with Zeta. And now Chaz has to pick up the pieces because, Bria is like, this always happens to me. I put myself out there and they like you from the first go around. And then it's like, okay, thanks, but no thanks. And she's sick and tired of going through that. Well, that's the thing about having multiple connections in this. Anything, like she said, if this was outside the villa, she would probably block them, which most people would do. So now Zeta has to have a reconnect conversation with Jeff because now that she's gotten clarity, she tells him, you know what, I'm going to go over here and figure out this thing with Timmy. And of course, he wasn't happy about that. He was like, you know what, I'm cool. You know, I'm glad you're honest with me. But then she threw another little curveball saying, but I know I still had this connection with you. And he was like, nope, don't say it. You know what? Just go on over there and do you. And don't put no false hope out there. If you really don't want that boy and you want to be with Timmy, just go on over there. Don't try to weigh both sides of with him. So Chaz need to have a conversation with Timmy at this point, kind of seeing where where he's at and what happened with his sister. And Timmy was like, look, I feel bad. Rejection never feels good. I just want to apologize, but I had to be true to myself, and I needed to be honest with her. And I mean, he could have, just like I said with Zeta playing Jeff and Timmy, Timmy could have played, Zeta and Bria, but they didn't do it. He appreciated. They shook hands and gave each other a hug and call it a day. So let's slide back into the hideaway, and these two are having a ball. Take a look. So yeah, the chemistry is looking real good between Sydney and Isaiah. They've made a lot of progress. The other couples, Bryce and Courtney, getting their smooching in. Pretty much everybody's having a good night in regards to a little bit of romance. And then it came time for Timmy to go to bed, and Bria was like, not in this bed, you're not. So he has to go outside and sleep, unfortunately. And from where it sounds, it's cold outside. And now Zeta also wants to leave and go outside as well to sleep with Timmy. And I guess they're going to make their own heat. She got that big old sweatshirt on, a hoodie or whatever. And they talking about how much they miss each other and getting their little snog going on. So their heat, they don't even know. They don't even know how cold it is. But however, the hideaway, it is going down. So I was surprised that they showed her with her feet up in the air. I don't know what they were doing, but whatever it was, hey, it's their moment to shine with whatever that is. So now we're in the next morning. They're finally out of the hideaway. And I don't know if you guys noticed, she had makeup all over her face. So whatever they did, yeah, it was makeup everywhere. So they got a chance to talk to the guys. Isaiah did. And then Sydney talked to the girls. And nobody was telling nothing. Nobody's kissing and telling. They just talked about how much closer they've gotten. So now Zeta wants to have a conversation with Bria because she's feeling some kind of way about what happened yesterday and how Timmy pretty much ended it with her to get back with her. And so they kind of hashed it out, and Zeta was like, I know it's got to hurt. It feels bad. I know I shouldn't be saying this. You might not think I'm being honest with you, but I really feel bad about the situation that you're in. And rejection never feels good. And I just want to say we're Team Bria. And I'm like, you just took back the man that she was interested in. And I guess she's trying to make sure that everything is copacetic, I guess. I don't know. Let me know what you guys thought about this particular scene. I thought that was really interesting. I could see if she want to have a conversation, but she was laying it on real thick. So now we got this whole thing with Jesse and Deb, and both of them have issues with the connection. So they were sent out on their first date because she got a text. And then before they left, we saw the conversation with Isaiah and Sydney in regards to the fact of where they stand. They're not going to turn each other's head. Now, he didn't already use the L word. She obviously don't take it seriously because she's trying to make sure that he's not going anywhere. So he said he's not going to turn his head. We still got to go through Casa. So Casa is going to say a lot about some of these couples, whether it's going to be strong and they're going to be steadfast or otherwise. So back to this whole water date, because Jesse did not want to swim. He's not a good swimmer, he says, but he has his little floaty jacket on. And so he and Deb went on this jet ski. So I don't know. It was an okay date. now we have this whole conversation with Bria and Timmy, because Timmy want to also check in with Bria to see how she's doing and kind of close that door. I was wondering if he was going to do the same thing like Zeta, to say, hey, I still have a connection with you. But no, he was just like, you know what, I'm sorry. I just need to give you clarity. I want to be honest with you. And she accepted it. So, he was wondering if he can get a hug, but she was like, nah, too soon. So he respected that. And so they pretty much moved on. And she's moving to a different direction, which we'll see in a minute. But otherwise, it looks like these two are over. And like Chad said, once you close that door, don't think about coming back through it with my sister, so he can forget it. Back over to the date that Jesse and Deb have. Her biggest issue with Jesse, is his lack of PDA. And he says that his lack of PDA comes from the fact that he didn't have a father in the house. Was surrounded by two women. So he really doesn't know what it's like or ever seen a man being or showing affection to a woman. And the fact that he had to be the strong person in the household. So it made sense. It made sense to Deb. And so she kind of want to take that pressure off of him and, wanting him to be so affectionate and lovey-dovey with everything. And so he expressed that with the other guys, that's what he was able to do to kind of bring some clarity to the situation. I honestly don't believe that 100% because of what we saw with Serenity. Because the way he was handling Serenity, you can't make that up. So speaking of Serenity, there's this whole weird conversation between her and Chaz. Chaz is not feeling the romance being reciprocated from Serenity. And I agree, because I don't think Serenity really likes him. He is a nice guy. I don't know what type of guy Serenity is looking for. She was really head over heels for Tyler. But since that ship has sailed, Chaz has been in there and it's just not it. Now, back to Bria. These two are now starting to fill each other out to see if there's a connection there. And I would be interested to see how that go. One thing I will say Jeff told her is never let a man get you to the point where you're at tears. And he said, I think you a really nice girl. I would be interested in getting to know you. So she's interested in getting to know him. So, hey, why not? Because they're two single right now. So then we got a quick clip with Andy and Maddie. And we really didn't get a lot of airtime with them. Andy is happy about the fact that, Maddie gave him another chance. So they're all good at this point. So that's all we really got. Timmy and Zeta are back at it again. They can't keep their lips and hands off each other. But, they had the whole villa clapping for them, excited for them. And hey, listen, if you got a true connection with somebody, it's better to be in that connection than being somewhere else, not being 100%. So then our girl Sarah comes in to make a big announcement for all of the Islanders to gather around the fire pit, as the public has been voting for the least favorite couples are now vulnerable. So Courtney and Bryce were safe. Jesse and Deb were safe. Of course, Sydney and Isaiah was safe. And Serenity and Chaz, which they're not really feeling each other, they're safe, which left Maddie and Bria, and Timmy and Isaiah left vulnerable, which now the cast members, or the Islanders, had to vote to keep one boy and one girl. And of course, that's not sitting right with Zeta, because she don't want the guy that she just reconnected back with to go home. And they left us with their cliffhanger. And that's where we are. So check out what's happening in the next episode.
The Islanders make their choices.
Which boy do you want to see?
All right, so there you have it. So let me know your thoughts. Let's get the conversation started down in the comment section. Let me know, are you happy to see Timmy, or I should say Zimmy, back together? And what do you think about the other couples? Who's getting dumped? So until the next video, like, comment, and subscribe. We will see you soon. Bye.